What is up, DTube? What is up, the Steam blockchain? Today I want to talk about accountability or internet accountability. So I had a discussion yesterday on Twitter with, I replied to a comment, and then another guy replied to my comment. And what I realized is the way that people, for example, interact on Twitter or on Facebook is they don't look at internet as this serious thing. They mainly look at the internet as entertainment slash trolling slash just wasting your time. And that it had a time when that sort of made sense, especially when the internet was new. Well, we can post videos. Wow, we can post photos. Wow, we can write anything we want here. It did make sense. It's just for entertainment only, but it becomes a different thing when people rely so much on the internet for so many things. Not just communication, but when the internet becomes, when everything is becoming more digitized, and we're moving from factories, factory workers, and when we're moving those jobs into the internet space, it's as if internet has to become more like a corporate job in a way. And what is the thing with jobs is that you have accountability, you have a reputation system. There can be consequences if you do something, but the consequences usually comes from your job, not the government, even though it can also be the government. But in general, if you do something crazy on your job, it's only that job and that community that is going to respond to that. So this has to shift to the internet also, that accountability becomes a thing, because if it doesn't, if you don't have the accountability aspect, if you act crazy, if there are no consequences, then people have no incentive to behave well. So I realized when I was talking with this person on Twitter that people just act crazy. When there's no accountability, people act crazy. And what do I mean with accountability? Well, I mean with, for example, on the Steam blockchain, if someone posts something crazy, it's going to be a downvote. But not only that, it can be a monetary downvote. So that's basically what accountability means. That on Twitter, for example, if a person talks crazy, or they have no respect for how to speak to another human, if they can't have a regular conversation, there has to be some way that the community then can respond to that. On Twitter, you cannot really respond to that if someone acts crazy. Yes, you can block, but you cannot go. The community is not empowered, for example, as on the Steam blockchain, where they can downvote something. So on the Steam blockchain, people are empowered. The community can downvote something if they see it as crazy. On Twitter, for example, you can send a report, okay? But you have no idea who is going to look at that report. You have no idea how long time it's going to take. It's anonymous, and it's just a broken system. So internet accountability is going to be a big thing, because when you add monetary systems and reputation systems, the incentive to behave well is there, because monetary systems, that's tied to food, that's tied to survival, which means also that the level of quality content that people like to talk about, that can also rise. But these platforms that doesn't have an accountability system where the community can regulate things and where the community is empowered with like a token. It's just that it's like so this is how it is. You had, when you didn't know that people could be empowered more, then Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, it felt good because it was sort of, for a few years, it was as if, well, this is probably the top. This is the peak. Like, we are empowered. But then when more cryptocurrency comes, these tokens comes, these digital blockchains comes, you realize, oh, well, wait a sec, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, they didn't really empower users that much as they could because they didn't have the technology. But when the technology comes in, they have to implement that. They have to implement an accountability system where both the users are empowered with a token and also that the users can regulate the platform by themselves without having to bring in some third party, which you have no idea who it is. And if we go with the view of that majority of people are kind-hearted and good, which I believe that is the case, then the community can regulate things. Like, it's not a big deal because the community, if they're kind-hearted, they're not going to go all out crazy because they're kind-hearted. Okay, so you're going to see the community regulate things, likes and dislikes and things like that. But sometimes, yeah, crazy stuff breaks out. But in general, this is a good start. Obviously, you can do better. You can fix moderators and all of that. That also strengthening an accountability network. But with me, for example, the regular humans, for example, on Twitter, I mean, they have no defense system because they can't go to the community because the community is not empowered. If someone goes crazy there, they can just send a report to Twitter, but you don't know, but that's like to a stranger and you do not know if they're ever going to respond. So the power always needs to be in the community. So accountability, we're going to get an internet with massive accountability, which I think is the only right way of doing things, because we've sort of been lazy with that. We've sort of been lazy because it's all about trust, right? People have sort of been lazy, been sort of trained to not care that much about the accountability factor on the internet, not building real relationships and stuff like that. So you sort of have to rebuild and rethink how people are viewing and using the internet and how they're relating to people. I know, for example, on the Steam blockchain, I'm never gonna get a crazy comment coming in, like I hate you or whatever. It's never gonna happen. I never seen any random trolling happen on the Steam blockchain on my posts. This is something that would happen on YouTube, on Twitter, probably even on Facebook, because no accountability. There is no responsibility. There is no, when you can't earn, it's like people see no incentive to it. They see it just as a platform of being triggered or being trolled. But it's inevitable when everything becomes digitized that people are gonna have to look at the internet in a more sort of serious way in many ways, because it's also gonna shape society. If people want to be more involved in the future, there's a lot of scary things coming up, like machine learning, artificial intelligence that can manipulate what people are seeing, and the only sane way then is to create accountability systems. with hierarchies, basically. Used as a normal corporate job. So there are very exciting developments in, for example, how people are gonna earn. How I talked to a friend about how the future may be in terms of jobs, that people instead will play these games, and all the in-game items you can sell them for cryptocurrency fast, and people can basically have a digital game job. They play a game and they earn real tokens that they can then use to buy real food, buy shelter in the real world. So this might be something that really can take over in the future, because if people can create their own games, they create their own game items and then sell them, you have a full you have like a simulation of the real world in the digital world, with a real economy, with limitless possibilities of what you can create. We sort of started to see this with Minecraft. We saw how popular that was. Why was Minecraft so popular? Because it wasn't really a game, or you could say it's a game. It is a game, but you created the game, or you created the worlds. There was no limit of what you can do. Well, if you just add a token economy there also, then you have a job. You have a job. Right at the moment, we just have professional gamers that are getting paid, but in the future, I mean, there's no limit. Why not regular people wouldn't be able to earn a full-time income playing a game and being productive? And it's not just playing a game, it's about building. That it also comes in with accountability. You're training accountability. You're training to build up trust and relationships. You're part of different groups in that game. And I think the future is exciting. But there's a lot of stuff that needs to be ported over to the new internet, with accountability, with reputation, with token, micro economics. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take probably over 20 years. And I'm not sure if it's going to be successful, but especially when AI comes. But we have to see. But yeah, it's exciting. Have an awesome day, DTube. Have an awesome day, Steam Blockchain.